Everyone, and welcome to the Monster Report Live. The Monster Report's a show highlighting those entertaining creatures of film history. Your host here, Nick Adam Poling, and we have an exciting episode, of course, as always, here on the Monster Report Live. And so, in case you haven't already, you should hit that like button, smash that like button right away. We've got some awesome guests to bring in here, and we have a contest. Yes, for you, you can get the chance to win yourselves a copy of Shin Ultraman, the Blu-ray. Now, maybe you've already gotten this Blu-ray from another source, but this copy of the Blu-ray is the Raven Banner release, and I'll give you the details to how you can enter to win that very Blu-ray with commentary by one of my guests and an awesome kaiju fan and just scholar. Both of them are scholarly kaiju fanatics themselves, and they have some commentary, which I am really looking forward to getting my copy of it and having the chance to listen to that over the Shin Ultraman. And that film definitely has a lot, if you've seen this show before, that has a story that goes with it, where I and my son got the chance to see it, and then we had an interesting way of finishing that out and actually making an appearance on the Ultraman Connection website, actually. So that was a very cool opportunity we got, despite the fact that was the day that I came down with my new condition I have, which is rheumatoid arthritis. Was very much in pain during Shin Ultraman, but the movie made it well worth going through all of that, because it was a fantastic movie. So again, stay tuned. We'll give you details on how you can enter to win your copy of Shin Ultraman, the Raven Banner release. Get some chats out of the way here real quick. Bobby Reynolds, good to see you. Bobby had a birthday not too long ago. Thank you so much. We've got Everett in the house, Godzilla fan freaks. So yeah, stick around. You guys, you will be the first to know how you enter to win your copy of Shin Ultraman, the Raven Banner release. So with all that out of the way, let's bring in our guests one by one. We've got Mr. Chris Oglio. How you doing, man?
Hey, Nick. Thanks for having me. Great to join you guys.
Chris, tell us a little about yourself if they don't know who you are.
So I am a co-founder along with my business partner, Alex Rushdy, and we have founded Seismic many years ago, and we've been doing some Sofubi and really cool stuff over the last few years.
And everyone should know to go to seismictoys.com right away and check out the newest release, which is, of course, what we are here today to talk about. Not just the contest, but it is related to Shin Ultraman, obviously. So let's bring in our next guest, Mr. Alex Rushdy. Alex, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing great. Glad to have you here. We've had you on past live stream talking Dawn of the Monsters and all kinds of other kaiju subjects, but tell the audience a little about yourself.
Sure. Yeah. So I'm the co-owner of Seismic with Chris, and my day job is at 13 AM Games. We make video games. We made Dawn of the Monsters and the DLC that came out last year. And yeah, I just love kaiju, and I'm super stoked to be here.
That's right.
And did the commentary on Shin with Kevin.
That's right. And that's why we're doing that giveaway today. And so stay tuned for that. And then there's Dopepope. Moving on. I'm kidding.
You guys doing?
Good to have you. Dope, tell everyone a little about yourself, and we're definitely going to be talking to you about a figure today on this. But yeah, tell everyone who you are.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dopepope. I'm a freelance creature designer that works on films, TV shows, lots of toys, and some video games. And I'm here to present the Gomess Shin Ultraman version with the Seismic. And it's great to be here.
That's right. Absolutely. We've got Adrian, Kaiju Godzilla Train 1090. What's up, Kaiju family? Good to have you. Godzilla Fan Freaks is saying, hey, Chris, love me some Seismic toys. Atomic Blast that like button, everyone. Yes. And that is what you're going to be doing to get into the running for this Shin Ultraman Blu-ray, as we've said before. Commentary by Mr. Alex Rushdy, who's with us on the stream, and Kevin Derendorf, who has also been on this show and a few appearances. Both of these gentlemen with just amazing scholarly backgrounds on everything kaiju related, and I'm really looking forward to hearing this commentary. So you didn't get there on the other release of Shin Ultraman, the first release that came out, so you definitely want to pick up this one. Love that cover art too. And so what you need to do, we're going to tell everyone what to do, and we'll say it several times during this stream, is that you need to obviously like this video. You also need to comment, and I'll tell you what to comment here in a section in the chat. And when this is offline, actually, you can still comment. We're going to leave this up for a week, and then we'll do the contest, the drawing for this. So in the comment section, you want to put in a keyword. Your keyword is Ultra. I think that's easy enough for everyone to remember, right? So we'll be talking some Gomess here in a second. And just to get something out of the way real quick is that the Shin Ultraman Blu-ray that's out there, and of course, if you saw it in theaters, we had a very brief, and unfortunately too brief, in my opinion, appearance of Gomess in this, in his particular Shin look, if you will. But we're not calling him Shin Gomess, but it's kind of that notion, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's. We were talking about it on another show, and so I went in. I booted up the Blu-ray to check how long was he actually around for. I think it was 15 seconds.
Yeah,
almost exactly.
Literally 15 seconds of screen time.
But he's the first character you see on screen in the film.
That's true. Yes, and I mean, he makes an appearance. I mean, that just looking straight into the camera the way he does. I mean, you just won't forget that. And so, yeah, the challenge is going forward with that. So again, make sure you're subscribed to this channel. If you're already subscribed to this channel, you've got no problem being in the contest for Shin Ultraman, for your copy of Shin Ultraman, liking this video. And of course, we've already got Ultra already into the chat. So keep that up, guys, everyone. Keyword Ultra. So we want to know a little about Gomess and the figure that will be coming out, or is already out. Chris, you want to talk a little about Gomess and where they can find it, how they can pre-order it, and why they should pre-order it?
Sure. So Gomess, which is our newest figure, it is currently up for pre-order. It's a little different than our older pre-orders because not only can you order it from us, which is www.seismictoys.com, but you can order it on Entertainment Earth, Sideshow, and also Big Bad Toy Store, to name a few. We kind of decided about a year ago, we've been doing some Ultraman stuff over the last few years. We've done Svenger and we've done Juras, but we sort of decided that we got an opportunity from Subaraya to work on some products for Shin Ultraman. And I think we all kind of had a notion that we really wanted to do Gomess because obviously he makes a great impression in the film. It's a wonderful design. Obviously, it's a retooled Shin Godzilla model in many ways for the film. And we thought, because we've been talking to him for a while, that there was nobody better for the job than Dopepope.
Can't disagree with that one bit. And
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's bring in Dope here. Let me get you into solo mode because I want to hear a little about the design that goes into this. Tell us about the scale of the figure and all things that go into figuring out how to take it from screen to reality.
Oh, well, I believe it's a little bigger than their usual releases, the other releases that they've had. They definitely allowed me to get more detailed in there, more so than their last releases as well, which I think is why they wanted me to do it in the first place, because I tend to get very detailed in my models. And this was an opportunity to do so while still keeping the Seismic style, their style and what they like about their figures, their unique take. So I think it was a good union of both their style and my style to be able to push the crazy detail that Gomess is covered in. I mean,
Yeah.
he's not like what you just
Sorry.
mentioned. He wasn't on screen long enough for anyone to really appreciate how crazy the design is. They don't even show off the best bits, in my opinion. They need to have a whole 20-minute scene to show off this design. It's beautiful. But I think that the toy actually has all of that good stuff. And if you get your hands on one, you won't be disappointed. Because I can't wait to get mine.
I was going to ask. Well, there he is. Goodness, let me bring him up. So let's see. There we go. What is the scale to that bad boy?
So for comparison, this is the Gomess Bandai, which I think is the 6-inch scale, and then this is the Seismic Gomess. So this is about 9.5 inches tall, about 24 centimeters. Yeah, so it's like, I think it's pretty comparable to our other releases, a little bit taller. And there's one of the details that you don't really get to see much in the movie is what his tail looks like, which is pretty creepy because it's got a mouth.
Yeah. Like our Shin Godzilla had details to the tail that, of course, they did get seen. But yeah, this is how you get that real view of it. Was that was there plans, or was there more of a story to the tale of Gomess, whether it was projectile, he has fire breath from that tail like Shin Godzilla?
Nothing that they told us. So the original Gomess, and this is a detail in the original Gomess that you may not even notice, even if you watch that episode of Ultra Q. The original Gomess's tail does split into this kind of forked tongue shape.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess when they saw that, they went, well, why don't we just turn that into some kind of creepy mouth because it's Shin Godzilla? And that's exactly what they did. There's a lot of details that I was only able to appreciate once I saw Joe's sculpt. There's a lot of really cool stuff with how this design came together, which is neat because while it is obviously based off Shin Godzilla, there's, they put a lot of work into making it feel like Gomess. So if you're a Gomess fan, it's quite cool.
Absolutely. And I'm really looking forward to seeing that. So it's about an 8 to 9 inch kind of scale. I guess Chris, your like your Megadons and your Ganiras and Gyrus, that scale was about the 8 or 9, right?
Yeah, roughly. I mean, with the horn, he does stand a bit taller, but he is, for all intents and purposes, pretty in scale with all of our other figures. So it's comparable in that regard.
And I was going to say, you still got Savenger there, and there's Gyrus, but the variant, a really cool orange Fanta. I'm looking at Fanta soda.
Fanta Crush Orange.
Crush Orange, yeah, exactly. So, and there's your variant of the variant I must have. The first variant is that's probably sold out, right?
Oh,
and
yeah, that sold out a long time ago. Yeah,
you've had your chance to get him, and now you have these, which these are beautiful too. I mean, goodness gracious. Gyrus is still amazing. So everyone go to seismictoys.com and check out what you have. And I love the Savenger variations that you've got. Looks like there's one on sale, so pick that up. And this is Shin Gomess. His price point is $160. So very affordable. Yeah. And so I was going to say they can pre-order from Seismic and Entertainment Earth at that price point.
Yep. And same thing with Big Bad Toy Store and Sideshow. So, I mean, whatever works for you as a consumer, I mean, it's however you're comfortable with, there's options.
Yeah.
That is amazing. So yeah, let's talk a little about, going into the figure and getting some chats in here. And you in the chat, if you have questions for anyone on our panel here, we want to hear from you, or just send them some love. Everett is already... He's already hooked onto the Gomess. And so, going into this, I guess when it comes down to Gomess, obviously the history of Gomess, if people don't know about Ultra Q, tell them, the origin of Gomess. I think Alex probably could, outline this really well, and where that suit, that design, Subaraya. And I think, if they haven't had the chance to see Ultra Q, they haven't had the chance to dive into it. why they should, because it's an absolutely beautiful show.
Yeah. So for those who aren't familiar with Ultra Q, this was Tsuburaya Productions' first ever show. So Eiji Tsuburaya, who did all the special effects for all the Toho movies, all the Godzilla movies, all the kaiju movies, he created his own studio. He wanted to make TV shows. And Ultra Q was basically like half-hour long mini Toho movies. They are shot on 35 millimeter film. They're black and white, and they've got, each episode has some kind of monster, some kind of science fiction element. And so the very first episode features Gomess and Litra. Litra is this bird creature. And to create Gomess, Eiji Tsuburaya took, I believe it was the 64B suit. You know, Oglio, if it was, I'm pretty sure it was a 64, yeah. He took that suit from Toho and he modified it. So he had a crew modify it into an entirely new creature called Gomess. So it got horns, it got, different back spikes, a different tail, chest armor. The original even has like a flowing mane of hair. And that's how they created the original Gomess. And that wasn't the only time that they took a Toho kaiju and reused it to create a new kaiju. That happened for Pagos, which is also an Ultra Q. It happened for Naranga, Gabora, and Ultraman. There's plenty. And it was, what's funny about that is, and like I've asked people at Tsuburaya Productions, like, how did he get away with that? Because that seems crazy to me that no one legally was like, you can't do that. But basically, no one was willing to say no to Eiji Tsuburaya. I mean, he was the guy who kind of made Godzilla come to life on the screen. And so for Gomess from Shin Ultraman, so obviously Shin Godzilla is a Toho movie and Ultraman is a Tsuburaya property, but Shin Ultraman was produced by Toho. So in kind of in coordination with Tsuburaya and Kara, which is Hideaki Anno's production company. So they kind of had all the pieces aligned, where the creatives of Shin Godzilla, which were Hideaki Anno and Shinji Higuchi, were the same creatives involved in Shin Ultraman. And they were like, listen, we really want to do this. We think it's a great opportunity and a great idea. And they pulled it off. And so when you start Shin Ultraman, when you boot up the movie, the first thing you see is it says Shin Godzilla. And then it kind of like the intro that you made, then it blasts through and says Shin Ultraman. And then you see Shin Gomess on the screen. So it was a neat Easter egg that they managed to pull off. And I'm glad we got to turn it into like a premium, collectible.
And I was going to ask a little about, so you had mentioned the Bandai figure earlier. Was that a Shin or was that kind of original Ultra Q Gomess? This is the Bandai Shin Gomess. Shin, I guess, quote unquote, Shin Gomess. But yeah, so other than that, your figure will be the only other one, and definitely the larger scale of what they've created. Yeah, there is a model kit by KOC and CCP. I believe it's a 30 centimeter scale model kit, but It's like $800. So like, it's kind of realistically, it's like, okay, do you want the Bandai or do you want the Seismic? Because like the model kit is quite nice, but it's really, really big and really, really expensive. So we wanted to make something that was kind of more targeted at your kind of collector market, because we think that those people needed a Gomess of them, for themselves. Yeah. And tell me, either Chris or Alex, is there articulated points? Is there some of the similarities to your designs of the other figures that you've released? Yeah, it's got like leg articulation, not full, but still there. It's got full arm articulation, and it's got full tail articulation. So it is fully cast in soft vinyl. It's nice and lightweight, but very sturdy. And 5 points of articulation, fully painted. In a ways that it's different from our previous releases is that not only is the sculpt quite detailed, but the paint job is quite detailed as well. It's quite a different look as opposed to that Sofubi kind of airbrushed look.
This is more of like a hand painted style. So, yeah.
And actually, Dope, tell me a little about, when you're putting together that sculpt. Obviously, you've got some references to work on, but when it comes to color, when it comes to how much detail you can incorporate based on the fact of the scale it's going to be in and how much, it can cost. Obviously, the sky's the limit to details, but what kind of considerations did you have to go into with Gomess for all those details?
Well, I had some reference that had absolutely no color. It was a ZBrush file of the movie monster, the one that's in the movie, and it didn't have any color. It was all like grayscale. But I get excited when doing Sofubi's because I know any color you want to put on there is, theoretically okay. It doesn't have to be movie accurate when you're dealing with these kinds of toys. And in fact, you kind of like you want one to be movie accurate or as close to it, and then after that you go nuts. You just do whatever color schemes you feel like, whatever you think is gonna attract people's attention. Glow in the darks are usually pretty awesome. But yeah, I do remember in the early stages they asked me to design some colorways, and I just went nuts. And there's like crazy oranges and purples and greens all over the place. And, we all looked at it. We all loved it, but there was only so much we could actually get away with right away. Hopefully in the future, we'll be able to do like a little bit more crazy color schemes. But I quite like what's available right now because it's almost like it's not 100% movie accurate, but it's as close to it as I think anything else we're going to do in the future. So that's the one. For me, my personal taste is always get that movie accurate stuff, and then if the crazy colorway speaks to me somehow, then I'll grab that one too. But this is the must-have.
What is it about him that is particularly when you think of Gomess? What is, I guess, the first thing that you might describe him? And it's like he's the one with the whatever, and the design of it that is like the first thing that you always kind of your eyes capture.
Who you directing that question at?
Dope.
Oh, okay. So I find the original Gomess a little silly looking, kind of dorky looking. But when I saw the Shin revamp of the design, I fell in love with it instantly. It was super badass as far as I was concerned, and I immediately wanted to sculpt it for them. I was super excited when they told me it was going to be the Shin Gomess and not just the regular Gomess. And because I would have sculpted that as well and tried to make it like as much mine as I could, because it'd take away some of that goofiness that I see and replace it with some badassery. But I didn't have to do that as much over here with the Shin Ultraman version is already super badass as it is. So I just tried to like capture what that design looks like in that film, and I think we pretty much covered that. Like we nailed it, I think.
Well, and the detail, I'm always going towards is those teeth, because it really captures the Shin Godzilla. Of course, we kind of come full circle to Godzilla, to original Gomess, Shin Godzilla to Shin Gomess. And so that aspect of him, those really scary looking teeth, kind of like the Shin Godzilla, but also he's got the big chunky hips of the tokusatsu kind of look that everyone kaiju fans are looking for. We love to see what would look like a man in a suit, and that's why I felt like Shin Ultraman captured that so well, to give some love to the tokusatsu era of things. And so capturing that in this figure, you did really awesome work with that, and I'm again looking forward to seeing it in person myself. And I was going to say is the putting it all together, the details, things like teeth, things like those minute details, how much can you get in there in your sculpt that you do submit to them?
Yeah, teeth are always tricky. Horns that stick out that are rather thin, stuff like that is the enemy of the vinyl pull. Like that stuff just gets stuck in there, and you're lucky to have it. So there's trickery involved to be able to retain those details. Maybe you have them a little closer and more flush to the body than they would appear in the actual suit. So stuff like that. But I think in terms of what we were able to get away with and with the fine detail and the teeth, I mean, you could see the individual tooth is there. I find every horn I put in the sculpt is there, and it looks fairly sharp considering like it's made out of vinyl and it had to be pulled out of a mold to be able to see all that and then get paint detail in there with like subtle gradations. It's a testament to the people that actually put these things together. They're doing a fine job. I mean, once I hand off my file, the artistry is on them to make that toy look as good as it does. So that's why I want a piece. I can't wait to see my own, because it's like, it's not just my work, it's everybody's work involved. And I can't wait to see it.
And one more thing, and I'll let you take a break, Dope, is the lighting. Lighting being part of the toy. You know, he appears in Shin as Shin Ultraman as very daylight lit up, and you know, you have those choices going into this. So I assume, looking at the figure that I just saw there and the photography of it, was that kind of your lighting scheme with the colors to have them pop like in daylight?
I think when we were working through the colors, like usually when I'm sculpting the thing, the reference is going to be from the movie or another toy that's been photographed. I mean, whatever you could get your hands on. So yeah, the lighting is what forms, like it tells the story of the shapes and forms on the figure. And sometimes it could be very misleading. So depending on the lighting and each picture you have, it could look like a completely different shape. So there's a lot of back and forth to make sure we're doing everything that we're capturing the actual form that's there, not necessarily what we're seeing in these pictures. But yeah, I would say we wanted to capture what it would look like in daylight, and in terms of the colors, as bright as we can do it. Now, he's not very vibrant. He's still, even in broad daylight, he's rather dark, and the coloring is very subtle. And I think that they still achieved that with the toy.
All right, I'll come to Chris with some questions about Shin Ultraman and you know, talking about kind of the legacy of Ultraman 2. But I want to make sure everyone knows to go to seismictoys.com, check things out, all the products that they've got to offer, and especially Shin Gomess. And if you want to enter the contest, I'll say it again out there, to get yourself in the running for a Shin Ultraman Blu-ray copy, your own, free. I'll ship it right to your house, paid for by me at the Monster Report. You just got to subscribe to this channel, and you've got to like this video. Very simple. You can do those. Hopefully you've already done that already. Smash that like button and put the keyword, which is at the bottom of the screen, in the chat or in the comments section when this is on the, off of live stream here. Just put in the keyword Ultra and you are in the running. And so far we've got 2 in the running. I think we've got Everett and Adrian in the running for their copy of Shin Ultraman. And I will again have it in about a week, Monday, about this same time. Monday, I'll spin the wheel with your guys' name on it, and you can get that copy and listen to the commentary from Alex and Kevin. And tell me a little about your reaction to the film. I have actually, Chris, we've talked a lot, and we haven't talked a whole lot about our reactions to seeing Shin Ultraman and seeing it at the theater. You saw it a few times, I know, and then now on home video, both in Japanese and in English. I imagine you've seen in them both. In tell me how the film has aged for you and kind of your reaction to the film.
Yeah, I was pretty overwhelmed with the film when it first came out. I got to see it at a screening here in New York, which was right around the time, I believe, of New York Comic-Con last year, actually. And Ultraman Connection was having something going on, and it was a really great thing. There was a suit actor there. There was somebody dressed as Ultra 7, and Jeff Gomess was did a little intro to the film. And a bunch of us went to go see it, and we were just over the moon with it. I mean, it's a fast-paced movie. It's a lot of fun. It's very different than Shin Godzilla. And I think that's a good thing, because Shin Godzilla is a great film. And this does something that's very different as well, with being such a great homage to the original Ultraman series. So I've seen it a few times, and definitely the Raven Banner release, which I think is the definitive release on home video here in North America for the film. And it's just, I always just have a good time when I watch it. I think it's just really well thought out. There's just tons of action and just wonderful effects and creature designs.
Favorite kaiju?
I'm gonna say Gomess.
Of course, why not?
We're all gonna say Gomess. We're all gonna say Gomess.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Well, and the thing is, I always root for the underdog, and he didn't get enough screen time, so
He didn't. But there's a lot of great creatures from the original series that they put in, and they have small cameos. creatures from Ultra Q and stuff like that. So it's great being able to see those a little bit of a more modern interpretation of them in the film early on.
And actually, Alex, earlier we talked about Ultra Q and why they should check it out. You know where they could be directed to find it? I know that there's a Blu-ray of the series Ultra Q that's out there. Anywhere else that they could probably find it if they haven't had the chance to dip their toes? Check it out.
I mean, the beautiful thing about all this Ultra stuff is that it's all streaming free, either on Shout Factory TV or on Tubi. So you can just, you don't have to pay a dime. You can just go and watch it all. But yeah, there is a Blu-ray of Ultra Q. There's like a steelbook and there's a regular edition, and it's not that expensive. I think maybe $20 for like the entire series or something. Definitely recommend picking it up. And the Blu-ray is really nice. Like the transfer, you know, it's really nice to see it in HD because it was shot on 35 millimeter film, which most TV shows aren't. So it was shot like a movie, which is pretty neat.
Right. You're right. That's that thing about television, that it's almost, it's got a breath of new life in it when you see that transfer from film. There were some things like, I remember famously Star Trek Deep Space Nine was shot, I think, largely not in film, but in video. And, you know, the upgrade to HD is not as crisp as the Next Generation and original series that were shot on literal film. You can get a lot of those details. And yes, that transfer is so beautiful. It's so well done, even being black and white. And I remember seeing it before that release came out. It was just on, you know, I forget it. It was some streaming service. And, you know, you kind of forgave it for being older and the compression being there, but you were watching, you know, a Kaiju of the Week series, which was what was cool about all of these Ultra series. But then you see it like this, and it's like, wow, the details to the Kaiju, you know, I could see them, you know, so much better now in that transfer. And even the original Ultraman series, the first series, you know, seeing it in Blu-ray is just looking so good. And I'm impressed by how they can, you know, breathe that new life into these old shows. But yeah, tell me a little about prepping for the commentary without telling us what you do include in the commentary, because I want people to get it for themselves and watch it, listen to it. But working with Kevin, you do some collabs ahead of time. Or was this all right from the Nog day of? You guys just started getting together and you just, I mean, I imagine you guys probably did have some.
We definitely prepped. Yeah. I'm not as good at, you know, extemporaneously coming up with facts about Ultraman. There's a bit of pressure, right? So I reached out to Raven Banner because they're based in Toronto, and I just told them who I was and kind of what I'd been doing, you know, that I love Kaiju and I made this game and I do panels and discussions and all that kind of stuff. And I've known Kevin for years now. We've done panels at G-Fest together. And I reached out to Raven Banner. I told them, hey, I think that if this has a commentary and if this is like a good transfer and the subtitles are right, this could be the definitive Blu-ray of this movie, because the previous release had some issues that people were quite frustrated with. And they said, yeah, they went for it. So what I did was I talked to Kevin. So I'm in Toronto. Kevin's down in New York? Jersey, yeah. So he's down in Jersey. So luckily here in Toronto, I've got Steve Roberts. So Steve is a professional audio editor and he's got a home studio. So I said, hey, Steve, do you want to help me do the commentary for Shin Ultraman? He said, yeah, absolutely. Meanwhile, Kevin talked to Chris Marty, who has a bunch of like audio experience and equipment, so that they could have a setup on their end. And so we set a date because it was a relatively tight timeline. And then Kevin and I just set up a document and had a couple calls and we went through the movie scene by scene, and we thought up every piece of important trivia, every, you know, anecdote, anything we could think up that related to what we were watching. And there's a lot. I mean, not only are we talking about the history of this production of Shin Ultraman, which had, there's a lot to dig in there. We talk a little bit about Ultraman in general for people who may not be as familiar, because Shin Ultraman is, I think, like the best jumping in point. If you've never seen any Ultraman, Shin Ultraman's a great place to hop in. So yeah, there was a lot of preparation, a lot of notes, and then it actually took like 5 hours to record the commentary. And then it took a lot more time for Steve to go in and edit and stitch takes together and stuff. So yeah, I'm really happy with how it turned out. And I also did the intro. So if you watch the movie, you can watch it with an intro. That was done on a different day. That was done only with a couple takes. It was pretty quick, some equipment. But yeah, I was really happy with how it turned out. And I hopefully I'll get to do that again on another release or something else.
Okay, and I was going to say, people don't appreciate enough of what goes into that. It's just commentary, right? You just sat and watched it, and kind of like riff tracks, you just started talking, right? No, even they plan things out. Even they have, their notes there, even when they do things live. Nothing about this was live. It was all pre-planned out, and with, I'm sure some outtakes and some, things to cut out while you went through and to make it pristine, to make it comprehensive and comprehensible. Yeah, you're right about Shin Ultraman being a great jumping off point. When I've shown it to people, it's always like, but I don't know anything about Ultraman. I was like, that's fine. That's fine. That there's a land known as Japan, and they have a giant monster problem every once in a while. That's all you got to do is jump in and enjoy it. But yeah, that is that I'm so looking forward to that. I imagine through this that there was even some discovery on your part that of some details that maybe you didn't even know.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's a lot. There was so much that went into this film. Like for example, a cool piece of trivia that people may or may not know is that so Ultraman in the film is portrayed through CGI, but through motion capture. So it still has the like feel of a guy in a suit because there's actually someone doing the motion capture. And the motion capture for when Ultraman first does his Spacium attack was actually done by Hideaki Anno, who was the writer of this film, the creator of Evangelion, the co-director of Shin Godzilla. He did it himself because back in the late 70s or early 80s, he made his own Ultraman fan film where he played Ultraman. So this was like his dream come true. On top of that, they got Bin Furuya, who I think at the time was almost 80 years old, the original Ultraman actor, and he did a bunch of the motion capture performing. So when Ultraman finally does the like transformation pose, that's the original Ultraman actor kind of doing that role again. And it's pretty cool. And if you've ever met Bin Furuya, you know that if you do any of those poses, he is super critical and specific. I remember I was like, he said, do the Spacium pose. So I did it. And he was like, no, this hand needs to be more like this. And this one needs to be, no, and like that. Okay. A little forward.
You just go with it.
And I was like, all right, whatever you say, man. He's a professional. There's tons of neat little things like that. And there's so many Easter eggs in this film. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, the discovery of that, going through that is just impressive, and yeah, you'll learn something through it. And I've even watching the classic series, all of the different classic series, everything from Leo, Tiga, Return, all of them with my son. It's like we haven't even scratched the surface. It's so vast, and I guess going forward, Chris, I know that you're a fan of Ultraman Connection, and of course the new series that's on. I think it's called Ultraman Blazer, right?
Yeah, Blazer was a great show. It wrapped up. I want to say some point in December. It was a really strong entry. Haven't seen the film yet, so I'm excited to see that whenever it does become available here. Hopefully it does soon, because I think Blazer had a lot of good buzz. A lot of people really got into it, but that's been the great thing about Ultraman lately is that it's sort of a simulcast from when it airs in Japan. You can watch it for free on YouTube. So they started that from Ultraman Z, and it continued through Trigger and Decker and now to Blazer and so on. And what they have coming out right now, Ultraman Arc.
And I was going to ask if there was some more content to look forward to. So you said Ultraman
Yeah,
Arc is the next.
Yeah, there's a lot of different things that are going to be going on. So it's an exciting time to be an Ultraman fan or an overall kaiju fan.
Yeah, absolutely.
Arc comes out what in July, I think.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so that'll be good for more Friday Night Ultraman. And then in June is the new film, the new movie that's going to be on Netflix, which is Ultraman Rising. So that's an animated feature film. And I saw a preview of it. There's a teaser out there. It's like a really short teaser. I saw a preview of it last year, and like it looks fantastic. Like the teaser doesn't do it justice. I hope they release like the proper trailer. It looks really, really cool.
And so, yeah, some fresh Ultraman content, and maybe, who knows if there's, does anyone know if there's any plans for sequel, spin-off series or film to Shin Ultraman?
So after Shin Ultraman was completed, there was a proposal that Hideaki Anno submitted to Super Productions for 2 more films, Return of Shin Ultraman and Shin Ultra 7. Now, they were just proposals, right? So, they'd need to go through the whole process of getting greenlit and turned into something. And I'm not sure what Hideaki Anno is working on right now, but I think it would be great if they returned to this world and did more with it. But they haven't announced anything so far.
Okay, but it's something to look forward to. But that would be incredible to see. Again, more kaiju action, maybe a few more of the Ultraman foes that we've had in the classic series, and see them, revisited, in the CGI world, and in a Shin form, if you will. That would be very cool to see. Some of my favorites, Bemular, a Shin Gyrus would be awesome. I mean, we're gonna go nuts.
We'll make a toy of it.
And it will. Yes, absolutely. Alex, let's stick with you. Tell me more about, we've talked about Dawn of the Monsters, a video game. Is there anything new, whether it comes to the game releases, updates, anything to do with that?
So we launched the base game in 2022, and then last August we released the Arcade Edition DLC pack. So a big update to the game, including free content. So if you boot up the game, if you haven't booted up in a while, you're going to have like 10 free missions. And then the DLC includes the Arcade Edition, which is like a whole mode that's kind of styled after like retro arcade games, a very kind of addicting loop. New Game Plus, just a ton of content, and then a whole new playable character, very much inspired by Power Rangers Super Sentai, the Megazord. So it's this giant combiner mech that has 3 different weapons. So that was really cool. Of course, we have the physical version from Limited Run Games, and there was also a physical version released in Japan. And when the Japanese version came out, every version got updated with Japanese VO. And the VO has like a ton of pretty famous voice actors from video games and all sorts of stuff. Like if you watch the Gridman anime, one of the voice actors from that is one of the main characters. There's been like a ton of stuff added to the game over the past year or so. So definitely, if you already beat it and you think, oh, I'm all done, boot it up again, and there'll be more stuff for you to play.
Yeah, my son's a big fan of that. I know Everett out there is a huge fan of Dawn of the Monsters as well. And having the figures that behind Chris there, you got your figures. So if you haven't picked them up, it's time to get those. If you haven't sold out, I think you got a few, right? Yeah.
This is the one we did last summer. This is the video game accurate colors. This is one of my favorite figures that we've done, because it's just like really accurate to the game and nice and shiny. So yeah, there's all sorts of Dawn of the Monster stuff going on.
Yeah, awesome. And yeah, tell me, going forward with Seismic, is there shows that they can catch you at? Is there other news that's upcoming that you can tell us about? Of course, not everything is ready for reveal yet, but can you tell me some things that are coming up and what to maybe look out for?
Sure. So I know our next really big show is going to be Kaiju Brooklyn, which is very exciting, which is spearheaded by John Bellotti from Robo 7. So that's going to be June 1st with a pre-party VIP screening on May 31st, actually. So they're going to be showing Mega Monster Battle and Godzilla 84, which is going to be very exciting. The show last year, I mean, me and Joe were next to each other selling at the show, and it was quite the first turnout. It was jam-packed. I mean, there was well over probably 1,000 people there. It was a phenomenal show. Everybody had a good time. It was a really great vibe. And then after Kaiju Brooklyn, of course, we'll be at G-Fest, which is long-standing Godzilla convention here in North America, and it's going to be really exciting. We're hoping to have some great stuff. We've been gearing up for it gearing up for both Kaiju Brooklyn and for G-Fest over the last few weeks. So we'll be doing that until the summer, and we're working on some other things at the moment. Can't really talk too much about it, but Joe knows some things that we're working on. So,
all right, and I see he's trying to keep quiet. Yeah, he wants to tell me, but tell me a little. If they're going to order today, which they should, everyone who's watching this, their version of your Seismic version of Gomess, which is from Shin Ultraman, when can they expect the pre-orders to close and then shipment arrive?
So the pre-order is going to end on April 26th. So once that's finished, then we'll kind of begin more of the process. I mean, it's right now in the factory as it is. But once that final order is in, that kind of gives us the total of what the allotment of how many figures we're going to make. And we are hoping for a target shipment to customers by the fall. If it comes in earlier, great. But that's sort of our buffer for the fall. But again, if it does come in early, we will for sure make an announcement on it, and we will let everybody know.
And I was going to ask if it's shipped tail attached or detached in a box or bag.
So it's going to be a very different release compared to previous Seismic figures. So it's going to be much more of like an X Plus or a Ben Presto figure. If you've gotten some of the Ben Presto Ultraman figures, they will be a blister with a box. So the tail will be detached, and much like an X Plus, you'll be able to heat it up with a blow dryer and attach the tail and let it sit.
Yeah, because that's a massive tail. I wondered if it
is.
You're able to get that all together like that. So okay, it's definitely well worth. I just put it in my calendar that they have till the 26th of this month, April, right, to pre-order. And pre-orders will be closed after that point. So definitely go to seismictoys.com. There's the website. Check it out. All things that they've got, especially there, Gomess, and a beautiful figure there, especially with his, teeth. That's just the thing I keep going back to, is that the fangs coming out the sides the way it is, and that striking looking face that he has. So yeah, excellent work on that, Dope, and looking forward to seeing that. Dope, anything that that you can tell us that you're working on, whether for Seismic or otherwise?
No, I don't feel right plugging other toy companies right now, so I won't do that. But I'll say that I will be at Monsterpalooza this year. I won't be at Kaiju Brooklyn, which is kind of weird because I'm from Brooklyn. It's just the shows are on the exact same day, so I will have a proxy seller at Kaiju Brooklyn, but the real Dopepope will be in Pasadena at the Monsterpalooza show. So hope to see anybody on the West Coast. Come say hi, and go see Godzilla X Kong. I have a monster in the movie named Tiamat, which I'm very excited about.
And yeah. And I'm the heretic here. I have not had the chance to see the film. Been away. I've literally during the eclipse, when it's here in Indiana where I live, in totality, I was on a ship in the Caribbean. So
all right, it's not a bad place to be.
That's it. Hey, I take the Caribbean over an eclipse any day, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, it was beautiful. We had about 70%. people on the deck of the ship, leaning back in their recliners with their glasses on, checking it out. It was still cool, but not as cool as, my peers here were checking it out. And I was like, oh, well, I was, in my 90-degree weather in the ocean on my, it was a Disney cruise, actually. Took the kids and we had a great time. But we realized that we were going to go away during the eclipse. It's kind of like Dope, turning his back on Brooklyn the way he is. And
That happened to me during the last eclipse, the 2017 one. I was so excited, and then I realized I would be on a work trip I was either in Germany or Japan. I was like wrong hemisphere. Didn't get a thing. And I was like, oh, okay, well, it is what it is.
Yeah. We didn't schedule these things. Those eclipses have been scheduled for, billions or whatever of years. And, you gotta have a trip, you gotta make it. And, but it was an experience, nonetheless. And, this is great to have, like you said, Kaiju Brooklyn. And remind me, I've got to get Bilotti and you, and we'll talk some Kaiju Brooklyn here before that festival, so we can plug a little bit for that. That has been just growing and growing. I've noticed just the I know it was only the first, but it was bigger than expected, and planning on just growing that festival and getting it bigger and bigger, which is awesome to see. And so I'm glad to see that coming to the area of Brooklyn, because you have other New York area toy shows and monster shows and stuff, but specifically Kaiju. That's a beautiful thing to see, and real Kaiju fans putting it together, is awesome to see that too. So let's definitely have you back for that, and it'd be awesome to have. It would have been nice to have maybe Gomess on the table, right, for that and G Fest, right?
Yeah, but he'll be there in spirit. But fingers crossed. We never know. We're going to be cautiously optimistic, but we're going to be realistic nonetheless.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other details before we get the chance to share some social outlets and plug where they can find your information? Any other details about Gomess that you want to make sure that everyone knows about?
I mean, I can't say enough. I mean, I could speak for Alex. I mean, working with Joe Dopepope was just a wonderful experience, and the fastest approval of any figure we've ever submitted to Super Riot Productions to this day. I mean, from the concept sketch to the 3D model.
Just not the colorway. That was the only thing.
That's coming for a little while, but
that's through no fault of Joe's.
No, that just sometimes things get delayed. But I mean, it was a great experience. I mean, we love collaborating with different artists for different releases. And again, me and Joe have known each other for a long time, being neighbors, literally right over the bridge from each other. So it was great to finally work on this, and great to kind of plant the seeds for some future things that we're developing and working on. And I mean, just hands down great. I mean, again, when I saw Tiamat in the theater, Joe, I was like, oh.
Yeah, that was insane.
Awesome. It was such a great thing, and I was so happy for you. I mean, because your designs speak for themselves, and we were just lucky to have you on this collaboration. So thanks.
I feel the same way. It was meant to be. I remember I was like, we kept talking about it and talking about it and talking about it, but nothing ever happened. So I remember I reached out. I was like, "Are we doing this or what?" And you made it happen with like that week. We just started working on it.
It was like perfect timing, because we had just gotten the rights, and then we were like, Chris was like, "Yo, Dope messaged me. He's like, hey, are we doing this or what?" And I was like, "Yeah, we are." I couldn't have said that better myself.
Yeah, and you like all the headaches that I've heard of, not personally dealt with like you've been dealing with, but getting licensed figures and getting all the permissions and everything that needs to work together to make that a reality, is sometimes more of a headache than it's worth. In this case, it sounds like things were falling together very nicely, that's awesome too. And you've got this varsity team right here. You've got Dope working with you, Chris. You've already been working, and Alex on licensed figures for like Gyrus and others. So and the Savanger. So I think through the process, you're probably even kind of anticipating what they're looking for, what it is that gets it over the hump.
Yeah, and it's been great working with Super Riot. I mean, working with any license, it's always, it's not the easiest, right? Especially with the culture barriers and stuff. But They've been great. They've been really helpful, and yeah, quick and just like super friendly. And I gotta say, like, the reason I have the figure is because I was doing the photography. But I just like every day that it's been here, I've just been like picking it up and just admiring it. And like, you know, you try not to get high off your own brand, right? But like, it's especially in person, it's something else. So I do hope folks get a chance to grab one.
That's why I want to do what he's doing. I want to like feel it in my hands, feel the weight, and look at it from all angles. But I do want to say this is my first official Tsuburaya Kaiju, and I'm very proud that it's Gomess and that it's with Seismic, and that's another reason why I just want it on my mantle, like with my collection of things that I've done. But that's really cool. Like I hope it's not my last Ultra Monster, but it is very cool that it's my first.
Yeah, definitely worth it. It's right along the lines of what I, expect from your designs. There's just so much of the details that you put in, and the beautiful figure of a kaiju. We say that kaiju is beautiful. It's like, well, he's not winning any beauty pageants, but he's exactly what we expect him to look like as this creature of destruction. So yeah, very. I mean, that was just, a match made in heaven. So I'll give you guys the chance to plug any social outlets and where they can find you in the future. Dope, why don't you get started? Where can they find you?
I'm just on Instagram, ArtStation, and Twitter or X. It's all the same. It's Dopepope, zeros for O's. You found me if you see a Cyclops looking at you with a big smile. I mean, it's the avatar I've had for the past, 13 years now. So yeah, it's pretty famous and baked in at this point. So yeah, that's it.
All right, Alex.
Yeah. So I mean, Seismic is just Seismic Toys on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter /X. And then my personal stuff is on Twitter at Goji_guy. And that's usually where if I have any news, I will share. But yeah, Seismic has all your needs for anything on the kaiju front.
All right, and Chris is very approachable. You have any questions, you talk to Chris. He will spend his time. He'll go the extra mile for you. So Chris, where can they reach you?
Really the best place is, again, like Alex said, on our social. I mean, you feel free to message us for anything, any kind of questions or chat. It's all good, but you can find us also, equally as important, is www.seismictoys.com. That's where you can look at figures that are up for pre-order, what we have currently, not only for what figures that we make, but also figures that we are selling as well. So feel free to check it out. New inventory is always added to the site all the time. And please, if you are interested, don't delay. The pre-order ends in about a little bit beyond a week. So I would just say, if you're interested, give it a shot. I don't think you're going to regret it.
You absolutely will not.
And we've got a newsletter you can sign up for on the website. And, pro tip, we send out the newsletter before we make any posts anywhere else. So if you want to be like at the forefront of new product drops, that's the place to go.
I was going to say I'm on the site now. Would you go under what links or about us to get to that?
Should be just right at the bottom of I think any page. It'll say.
Oh, yeah. Here we go. Yeah. Subscribe form. Just pop your email address in there. Hit the submit, and you're good to go.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It's. I'm trying to find a way to get it so that we can see it on the screen, but I think we're.
Yeah, we're probably covering. But yeah, and we don't spam with tons of emails. We just, if we have a new product or like a major sale, which is pretty rare, that's the best way to find out about it.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Check that out. Get on the mailing list and subscribe.
Always if you click on an image of any of the figures that are on the website, whether they're on the drop-down menu or on the main page, you can see additional images of that figure. So if you kind of want to get a little more of a 360 feel, by all means, give it a look.
Yeah. You need. I want you to sell out of Gyrus because he is just an amazing figure. That is one I mean, just works so well. But yeah, looking forward to seeing Gomess coming out in reality, so Dope can hold his creation in his hands. And yeah, it is well worth it in the end. So I want everyone to make sure that if you haven't already, that you smash that like button, subscribe to this channel, check out seismictoys.com. Follow everything that they do on their social outlets. And if you haven't already, leave a comment in the chat here. I've only got 2 so far signed up. So guys, give Everett and Adrian a run for their money for that free copy of Shin Ultraman on Blu-ray, the Raven Banner release. You need to get that. So Adrian and Everett, it's going to be a duke it out between the 2 of them, which that should be interesting. So definitely comment on this. It's going to be up for a week. So that puts it at, I believe, April 22nd at about 9 p.m. Eastern time. I will be doing a short stream for the winning of that, and I will ship it to your house. Eric Stope, the keyword was ultra, actually, my friend. Eric, better late than never. Bearded Kaiju unboxing and review. Thank you, Eric, for being here today. Check out the VOD after this is over so you can hear all things that Seismic Toys has to offer. So there he is, Ultra. We've got 3 in the running for Raven Banner release of it. It is going to be awesome. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for your time. This has been fun, and looking forward to everything else that's coming out here soon. Getting Gomess in hand, and yeah, this has been fun. So thank you for your time. You've been very generous with it. And any last thoughts before we sign off for the day?
Thanks for having us, Nick. It's always a pleasure being on the show.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And we will catch you all on another episode of the Monster Report Live. Keep watching this. Get us over that 100,000 subscriber. We're so close to, in fact, as of today, 97,000 subscribers on this channel. And it's because of you all that is possible. So again, thank you. Thank you. Cannot thank you enough. And follow all things that are the Monster Report here on YouTube. We got Facebook. All of it's the Monster Report on X, which is formerly known as Twitter, Instagram, and of course, the monsterreport.com. We will catch you on another episode in the near future. Thank you so much.